Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm going to start with this. So before we discuss managing to scale your security function, I want to share a story. This story is about a company named Sandcorp. And as you can probably guess by the name, this company used to manufacture sand, a lot of sand. And they were excellent employers. So what they had a perk for their employees where they allowed their employees to take as much sand home at the end of the day as much they liked, no questions asked. With just one condition, that you cannot smuggle anything in that sand. No power tools, nothing. So they positioned guards at every exit to make sure nobody is smuggling anything. There was this one employee who would take a wheelbarrow full of sand at the end of every day, and guards would do their due diligence. They would poke through his sand to make sure he is not smuggling anything. They would not find anything, and they would definitely let him go. This kept on happening for multiple days, weeks, months, years, and finally, I think after 20 years of his service, this employee decided to retire. It was his last day, and these guards were like, oh my God, this employee has taken so much sand home. We don't know what he was building with this much sand. So if we don't ask him today, we will never know. So they gathered some courage, and they approached this person. They said, you took this much sand home. What did you do with it? And the employee smiled and said, you are really good employees, and you were doing your due diligence. Without fail, you poked my sand every day to make sure I wasn't taking anything. But guess what? I was taking a new wheelbarrow home every night. Exactly. Correct? So we as security experts, our work is never done. We have to look at the big picture. We have to also think with an attacker's mindset. It's really important in our job. So with that, let's get started. So I'll talk about why do we need to scale a security function, how do you solve for it, and so this is where I'll share what we have done at Facebook, and then what are we doing next. So why do we need to scale security? Here I'm going to mostly focus on the things that we see as challenges at Facebook, but you will be able to associate with those pretty well because those are not very unique to Facebook. Those are across the board. You will be able to see those in your organizations as well. So let's start with Facebook's mission. Our mission is to connect everybody in the world so they can build stronger communities. And what that leads to is we have lots of people across the globe using our services. Our users expect security and privacy as they are using our services. Facebook's culture is to move fast, and we just cannot add unnecessary friction as security experts because our engineering teams are doing CI/CD. They are doing continuous integration and continuous deployment. So we just cannot add that unnecessary friction. We have family of applications. So if you, sometimes people think, oh, Facebook is this Facebook app that they use day in, day out. But that's not it. We have all these different family of applications like Instagram, Oculus, WhatsApp. And these applications are very unique. Their user base is unique. Also, their technical stack is unique. And they have different challenges. Like Oculus is hardware-based. So we have to look at the hardware security aspects of it. Versus WhatsApp is a messaging app. So different kind of security challenges. Our infrastructure, you might think everything is running on the same infrastructure. It isn't, for multiple reasons. Some of these are acquisitions. Some of them have a very unique technical stack. Why? Because that stack gives them the performance that they need for their own services. So we just cannot have everything running on the same infrastructure. We are making some innovative research into augmented reality and virtual reality. So this is Mark announcing at last F8, where we said we are doing some research to find out if people with limited abilities, they can type using their brain. I mean, how cool will be that? But at the same time, this is so new that we cannot find solutions in any textbook on how to secure it. We have to do similar innovation working with these teams in parallel to say, okay, what are the security challenges that we should be solving for? And I'm pretty sure, like, if you are thinking through these and look back at your own organizations, you probably have the same things going on. This is the picture of our base station. So base station is you can think of it as a server which is processing requests at some remote locations where we are trying to provide internet access and fiber is not an option. So these base stations are processing like 6 billion operations per second. And if you think about it, just a very small requirement of encrypting this, it can add, even if it adds like 100 millisecond delay, we cannot meet this request rate. We have to increase the capacity. So we have to think of innovative ways on how we can continue to meet this request rate and support our business and still have everything secure. We have diversity of people on our platform. They're younger generations, they're parents, and they all have their security expectations, privacy expectations. Our platform is used for legitimate reasons, and we have to also make sure that it's not abused. So given all of this, I hope I convinced you that we definitely need to scale our security function. What do we do to scale it? One thing that people ask me a lot is, how big is your security team? Why? Because they are thinking, given all of these different challenges, the team must be huge, and they are thinking more from like, how many people work in security? I say yes. Having significant size team is one part of it. You definitely need that. But at the same time, you have to do some other things. And I'm going to focus on those additional things because I feel like you can definitely take away some of these to your organization and maybe try these out. And let me know later if they work in your organization or not. So the first thing is automating technical solutions. When I say this, probably first thing that came to your mind is maybe doing some fuzz testing, maybe some regression testing, automate those. I am not specifically talking about those. I'm talking about going beyond. So I'll share some of the examples. Building lightweight processes, as I said, adding friction. Unnecessary friction for our engineering teams is not the right solution for us. But we still do have processes, and how do we scale those processes? Then developing some of the security programs. So let's start with the first one, which is to build automated technical solutions. I put them in 3 buckets. You need to empower your users, your engineers, and your security community. So when I say empowering your users, what do I mean? Empowering your users means that you give them the right tools so they can secure their accounts. For example, Facebook does 2-factor authentication via security keys. I don't know how many of you use security keys. With show of hands, how many of you have security keys? I see quite a few. That's good. I mean, this is the right group to have security keys, correct? So setting up 2-factor authentication using security keys or login alerts. These are some of the things that we provide to our users. So depending upon their security needs, they can enable these on their accounts. Then empowering our engineers. How many times do we expect our engineers to be security experts? A lot of times. Like we go and tell them, this data at rest should be encrypted. And we expect them to know what we are saying. Like they should know which encryption algorithm to use, what's the right way to use that encryption algorithm. And I think that's not a very fair ask from our engineering, because they should be able to focus on their business logic, and they should not have to all become security experts. So what we do is we provide our engineering underlying libraries, which by default, the moment they invoke calls on those libraries, like encryption, hashing, these baseline things just happen without them realizing which encryption algorithm is being used. And it has additional benefit for us. If we have to swap the encryption algorithm, we just swap it in the library without going and talking to 50 different teams and saying, please change this here. It just swapped. So providing security infrastructure to your engineers is really important. Another thing that we do in this area is static code analysis. At many companies, it's been asked engineering to run the static code analysis on their code before they submit their code, before they check in their code. We do it slightly differently. We let engineers check in, and then we specifically run these tools in background. And if anything is found, then we ping engineers to say, please go address this particular gap. So they are free to check in as many times during the day, and these tools run in the background. So Zoncolon is our tool for static code analysis that just runs in the background. Security community. Here I want to talk about a couple of things. One is, I don't know if you saw our blog earlier this year, Pyre. Pyre is a static code analysis tool that runs on Python to find any issues. And we built it because our Instagram code is written in Python, and we wanted to make sure that we have enough coverage there. We open sourced it earlier this year, so if you have any Python code, please feel free to use it. And when I'm talking about security community, I personally think that we need to become much stronger together. Because if we try to do our things in silos, it'll be really hard to keep our system secure. Because all of us get so many indicators in our systems that if we can all share those, we will become that much more stronger. So I'll share a little incident. This was a few years back, and Facebook was looking at some anomalous behavior on its network. And we reached out to Microsoft and Google, our peers there, and they were noticing similar things. So we were like, okay, something is going on, something is not quite right. So we started collaborating. We started sharing indicators of compromise. And what we found was that there was the same actor which was trying to get into our systems. So, and how we were sharing indicators of compromise at that time was, here is the SharePoint file, here's the Dropbox file, here are the emails. We had no sensible way to share it in one way. It was a very randomized way to share it. But after we detected this and we stopped this person from compromising our systems, one thing was very clear. It was extremely helpful for us to collaborate, because we were that much more stronger together. So that's where the idea for Threat Exchange was born. I don't know how many of you have explored that. So Threat Exchange is a platform that was built after that incident, where you can sign up as a company and you can start to share your IOCs, your indicators of compromise, and you can listen to others' indicators of compromise. So there are, I think right now, more than 700 companies signed up who are sharing IOCs. So you get to hear from other 699 companies as to what they see in their network. I can give one more example maybe in this space, OS Query. I don't know how many of you have used OS Query, but this is a tool which we open sourced a few years back, which helps you look at the client endpoint events in a relational database form. So it helps you detect everything that much more easier. After that, I think many more tools are built on top of OS query, so it gives us a lot of, like we feel very proud when we see people building tools on top of OS query. So feel free to explore some of these tools, and I encourage you to share your tools more broadly as well, because you all have similar crown jewels that you are protecting, and you have tools that you have built to protect those. So please share it with wider security community, because we have to get stronger together. So moving to the next section, how do you build some lightweight processes? And when I say building lightweight processes, one thing that probably all of us experience at some point in our career as security experts is engineering will try to avoid you. They'll be like, oh, security person, maybe I should not talk to them. Why is that? Because they probably talked to you sometime and they asked a very simple question, and in response you asked them like 100 difficult questions, and probably you put 200 even further difficult requirements which they could not understand. Or you brought with you 10 other security experts saying, this is my network security expert, this is my host security, and this is my application security, by the way, and they all will ask you their own set of 100 difficult questions. So after that, they're like, oh, I made a big mistake. I should not be talking to security next time. So that's how they process it. And then they try to avoid you in hallway or something. They're like, oh my God, security person, I'll go the other way. So to avoid this particular issue where we felt that we have to be a very close partner with engineering. If we are shipping something, we are shipping it collectively. And how can we become that close partner? We created a team which we call dedicated security partners. So this is a team of really senior security engineers. And they are really good at looking at the big picture. So remember that wheelbarrow? So they're really good at looking at that big picture and say, okay, this is your architecture, let's do threat modeling. Let's figure out where your key threats are. And then what they do is they don't just inundate them with, you have 100 gaps here, and here are the 10 people who you are going to work with. No, they look at what the key threats are, they stack rank these, and then they themselves go and work with subject matter experts. So the benefit here is now engineering team doesn't feel randomized. They don't have to talk to these additional 10 people and share their roadmap, their architecture. They feel like they have one person they can just go and talk to and get all their answers. Subject matter experts are happy because they don't have to go and look at the entire architecture over and over and figure out where their area of expertise is needed. Somebody is really guiding them to focus on that particular area. So this particular model has worked really well for us. And I definitely go and talk to my engineering leads on a very regular basis to get their feedback on how is this process going. Do they feel they have the right kind of engagement and support? And they all are really positive about this. So try this out and see, it may really help you scale your teams. So the third pillar that I want to talk about is security programs. So these are the programs not necessarily all within Facebook. Some of these are within Facebook and some are outside. So Threat Exchange I already talked about. I highly encourage you to please take a look at our platform and sign up and see if it brings value. If it doesn't, we would love to hear what we can change so that it brings more value for you. Bug bounty, I'm pretty sure a lot of you probably heard about bug bounty program. I'll briefly talk about this. So this is a program where you award researchers for finding bugs in your offerings. And sometimes people, when they hear it, they are like, why would you pay somebody for finding bugs? Yeah. Why? Because of multiple reasons. First, when they are finding bugs, they are hopefully doing responsible disclosure to you. What does that mean? that means that without sharing more broadly, they are first coming and sharing it with you. It gives you a chance to fix those issues and secure your users on your platform. So think about it, rather than having just a set of security people on your team, everybody is working for you. So it's that kind of model where security researchers across the globe are looking at your offering and trying to see if they can find any issues. So that's one benefit. Then the second benefit is, as we engage with these researchers, we also get to see their passion in this space, and a lot of times we end up hiring them. So if you have ever thought like, oh, I want to work for some of these companies, look at their bug bounty program, submit some stuff there, and we definitely engage with these researchers very closely. So overall, a lot of benefits. Facebook has so far had, I think, 900 researchers who have submitted bugs across 100 countries. And we have paid, I think, upwards of $6 million over last 7 years. So we definitely recommend doing a bug bounty program. Internet Defense Prize, this is where we pay researchers who are trying to make internet more safer. This year we paid $1 million. So if you are a researcher, please spend your cycles on something like this, and we would love to hear from you. Hacktober, this is actually my personal favorite. This is more of an internal program, and this is October, so I feel really proud speaking at this time. Why? Because Hacktober is our program. If you read the word Hacktober, it's a mix of hack plus October. So this is the time. Actually, before I talk about Hacktober, a lot of us as security experts, we have this one requirement where we want to make sure our employees have gone through some security awareness training. Correct? Because we all know human factor is a big factor in securing your systems. So we want to definitely make them that much more intelligent about all the security stuff. Now, how do we approach it? We usually put a training together, and as they do this training, we do a survey after that, and what do we find? Either they did not like the training, or the retention rate for the content is very low. Because it was just once something they heard and they're like, okay, this is a checkbox requirement, I'm going to do it, I'm going to forget about it. Now, as they go through this, we were doing a similar surveys and we were like, yeah, this is not very effective. So we switched gears and we came up with this idea of Hacktober, which means hacking during October. So we as security team, we trick or treat our employees. What does that mean? So we try to trick them, and if they get tricked, they get tricked. Otherwise, we treat them with some swag if they find our tricks. So how do we trick them? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to give them more of a hands-on experience versus just listening to some half-an-hour training and then forgetting about it. So we try to phish them. Like we will literally send phishing emails, and then we will have stats around it, how many employees got phished. We will drop USB drives across our campus laden with malware, like not real malware, but malware that we have created. So the moment they plug the drive in, we get a notification how many people fell for it. So what that does is, I don't know how many of you have ever gotten phished. Once you really experience it, it stays with you. It always, you remember it, versus listening to somebody just talk about it. Like, a lot of times people hear about phishing in a training and then they forget. Then on top of that, we talk about whaling and spear phishing, and they are like, now what kind of phishing is this? So it definitely gives them a much better perspective. We run our own capture the flag events. During Hacktober, we bring security experts from outside to talk about what they are doing in their space. So making it overall like a celebration during this month about security. And you will see on our campus, everybody wearing our Hacktober gear that they have won from prior years. Like, they feel so proud about it that they want to show that, yes, I found this trick and I won something. I'm going to definitely display it this month. So just making it really positive for everyone. And I think we have done some posts about it. There is an HBR article where we talk about this. And so there are a couple more posts. So please look up at those. And if you want more details, feel free to ping me as well on this program. So I've spoken about a lot of different things. What's next for us? Do we feel like everything that we are doing is good enough? And we are all like, yes, we are all set with everything that we could do. As I said earlier, security work is never done. You have to continue to do it. You have to continue to innovate. Our attackers are not taking a pause. So we cannot either. And the other thing is, if you think about, there is a survey done by, I think, Frost and ICS Square, where they say there will be a talent gap of 1.8 million by 2022. So think about it. If you find it hard to hire talent now, what will it look like in just like 2 to 4 years from now? It will become almost impossible to hire that talent. So we need to get in front of this. We need to make sure that our next generation is looking and is getting ready to work in our space. And a lot of times it's about they don't understand what the space means. Like, we review the curriculum for a lot of universities, and what we find is they really don't have a coursework for security, cybersecurity. And so we work very closely with 7 universities, and we offer a accredited course at these, like I think it's a web cybersecurity course to these universities. So students can take this course and they get credit for it, and they get a hands-on experience. And what we found is students who took this course, 80% of the students want to follow up with a career in cybersecurity. Before then, it was 0. Why? Because they just did not have exposure. So it's a matter of us getting out there, us as security community getting out there and making people more aware of what is it that we do day to day and how they can add value to it. Because it's really important that we prep this next generation, otherwise we will not have that much talent pool to hire from. We do some other things too. We hosted actually vets earlier this year, veterans. We hosted, I think, 35 veterans they took like this cybersecurity course over the weekends at Facebook campus, and we ended up hiring 2 of them, and I think quite a few of them got offers from other companies. So people do have this desire to learn. We just have to create venues where they can come and learn. So with that, I want to recap with the things, key takeaways. Empower your engineers to ship secure products faster. And this goes back to becoming more of their ally versus adversary, and figure out how you can make them go faster versus slowing them down. Build a stronger security community. Now, whether you get out there, talk about the work you are doing, sharing your tools, sharing your learnings, all that will help us build security community and invest in the next generation. We will need that. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you with a very short video, and I'll take questions on the side. I will be here for a few more hours, so I'll take them later on. But I want you to enjoy this video because this definitely does relate to our work.
This is an awareness test. How many passes does the team in white make? The answer is 13. But did you see the moonwalking bear?
Oh my God.
Thank you, everyone.